Orbea is out with their new Rise, and naturally, I'm quite excited. Why, you say? Well, a couple of months ago, I made a video about my dream bike for 2024. The only problem was that bike didn't exist, but it easily could. And my idea, which was a quite obvious idea, is based on the Orbea Rise. Orbea could easily make my dream bike. All they had to do was take the 540 watt hours Orbea Rise and remove the RS software. Yeah, and to sweeten the deal, they could take the new 5.8 amp hours battery cells. That would bump up the battery from 540 to 630. That battery would have no issues handling a full power motor, and it would have decent range. So what has Orbea done with the new Rise? Have they managed to hit it out of the park? Yes, mostly. Probably. The new Rise comes in two versions, the Rise SL and the Rise LT. The SL version is basically the same as the old one. It's a 29er bike with 140mm travel front and rear. Frame geometry is slightly altered though. The wheelbase is up by like 13 to 24 millimeters depending on the frame size. So the XL is up by 24 mil. The head tube angle is down by half a degree, which is nice, 65.5 degrees. It's a great figure for a sort of a light duty trail all mountain bike. The head angle of the Rise LT is 64.5 degrees, with a reach of 485 millimeters for size large. If you want a slacker bike, the frame is adjustable, drop it to the low setting and you're down to 64 degrees. The wheelbase remains pretty much unchanged at 1260 mm for size large. The rear triangle on both Orbea Rises has been updated. Now the chainstay length is 440 mm, down by 5 from the old model. And yeah, I guess it's a more solid, rugged rear triangle. Orbea is introducing two models in the SL lineup, and I can only assume there will be more, but they don't say. So it's the M Limited, M LTD, at 16.25-ish kilos bike. And it's the Rise SL M10, both with a carbon frame. Then there's the Orbea Rise LT, which I'm sure a lot of us will be most excited about, the longer travel version. That too will be introduced in two versions. The M Team, that was weighed to just below 18 kilos without pedals, and the M10. Yeah, as I said, I can only assume there will be more models later, but who knows what Orbea is thinking. Perhaps they think the M20 models and the alloy models could be the old frame, and the more expensive models can have the new frame. Who knows? Anyway, the 160mm travel front, 150mm travel rear LT model is looking very good. Previously, Orbea used to sell only one frame with either 140mm or 150mm fork. And I surprisingly was sort of happier riding the shorter travel version because it felt a bit lower bottom bracket, closer to the ground. You were sort of flying low on the trails over the dirt and pines, and it was a really engaging experience. Extending the fork by 10 millimeters, it didn't really make much of a difference. 0.5 degrees slacker head angle, a bit more ground clearance, and yeah, I didn't really. That bike didn't impress me that much. But now with the LT, things look much more sorted. This should be a quite different bike to the SL 140mm version, and it should be a nice and capable descender, which is still quite light. But the big question, what about the motor and battery? Have Orbea done it? Yes, no, Shimano-ish. They sort of, the new motor, as all Shimano motors, they come with two profiles for motor power, motor mapping. And these new Orbea Rises, they come with the standard RS profile and an RS Plus profile. The RS profile, I guess it's fairly similar to the old RS motor, but it's rated at 54 Newton meters by default. And you can change that, but I don't know how you can go. And the RS Plus is 85 Newton meters. That's the same as the Shimano EP8, EP801, which this motor is based on. And does that mean it's a full power motor? Technically no, because Orbea has limited the maximum power output by 100 watts, they say. And when Shimano says the EP801 is 600 watts, that means the Orbea RS Gen 2 motor with the RS Plus software is 500 watts. So yeah, technically it's still limited, but compare it to the old EP8, the EP800, everyone would call that a full power motor, and that too is a 500 watts, 85 Newton meters motor. So take it as you like. For all intents and purposes, I think Orbea has done it. They've made a light, full power EMTB with decent range, with a 630 watt hours battery and the extender at like 840, so that's nice. But is it cheap? Nah, they missed that. That was an important point, and it's not cheap. The cheaper model is 7,999 euros, and it's up to 12,000 euros. But of course, it's the alloy H30, the carbon M20. Those are sort of the models that I'm the most excited about. Decently spec'd bikes at a low price. Imagine getting a full power 630 watt hours Orbea Rise H30 at just below 5,000 euros, for instance. That would be a killer bike. So, as you've probably understood by now, I haven't actually ridden the bike. But Rob has. Rob from Rob Rides EMTBs. And we talked a bit. And check out his video for his take on the bike. But here's a few key points. The 16 point something Rise SL, it's actually lighter than what he prefers. The bike sort of pings of obstacles, and riding a full power heavy EMTB, you just plow through stuff, go over stuff without being bumped offline and not having too much of that upwards motion. But on a 16 kilos-ish bike, you will have a lot more of this up and down motion, which non-EMTBers are sort of used to, but coming from a full power EMTB, that requires a different riding technique. So going up to the 18 or even 19 kilos range, yeah, he prefers that. And also, when talking about motor power, for all intents and purposes, he says this feels like a full power motor. Sure, if you rode the bike side by side with someone with a non-limited Shimano EP8, there might be a difference, but he couldn't really feel one. It's still a powerful motor when pedaling calmly and slowly, when not pushing it. And my guess is, if you ride slightly uphill in a group, going just below cut-off speed, probably the 100 watts this new Gen 2 RS motor is missing can be noticed up there. I did an article about the new Orbea Rise with all the details and geometry and specs. It's out on emtbforums.com, and it's a link for it in the description below, so check it out. That's it. Appreciate any likes and subscribes. Thanks for watching.